call this divine relationships. What in the world would the divine or divinity have to do with relationships, human relationships? Not just spiritual, but natural relationships, falling in love. Don't go anywhere. This is good for this time of year.
You can do it. Don't stop. Ed Montgomery. Come on. A new way of thinking. Transform your mind. Straight from the vine. Fresh new wine.
Hello, I'm Ed Montgomery. I am your host today on Fresh New Wine. Fresh New Wine is about grapes. It is about the processing of grapes, but not just physical grapes. When you crush grapes that are in a bad season, you actually get your best wine. So Fresh New Wine is about whatever's going on in your life. Remember, don't throw that life away. Don't think that nothing good can come out of it, because even out of your bad seasons can come some of the best things in your life. Fresh New Wine is about new ways of thinking. You can't put new wine in old structures. So we got to change the structures in order to handle the new wine or the new way of thinking. Listen, I'm your host today, Ed Montgomery, Dr. Ed. Thank you so much for joining us. You can also catch some of our programs on Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and right here on our show, right wherever you're watching, either on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, wherever you're watching from. Thank you so much for joining us. I have talked about politics all year long. I've talked about spirituality, connections with politics. I've given a lot of history, especially Black history, African relationships, African history. Before, everything didn't start during enslavement. Things started before that. I've talked a lot about a lot of things. But one of my favorite subjects is about relationships. How we relate to each other, how we connect with each other, how we talk to each other. And I have learned in all of my years, you can see the gray hairs there, all of my years, that if you're not making a connection with somebody and you're trying to walk through this life all by yourself, really it doesn't matter how much cash you got in your pocket. Doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. Doesn't matter where you live or what neighborhood you live in. Because if you're not connecting with somebody, none of that matters. Because when you find yourself about to leave this planet, the only thing you want to be surrounded with is not your possessions, but around people that love you for who you are, not what you have or what you look like. So during this particular time, I'm recording this during holiday seasons. It could be Thanksgiving, it could be around Easter time, it could be New Year's, it could be Christmas. This is actually during the time between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I talk to people who are dealing with loneliness. Now, there's a difference from being alone and loneliness. Being alone is a situation that you find yourself in. You could choose to be alone. Sometimes you just want to be alone. You've heard the clutter and the clatter of human language, and you just want to be still, look at a movie or binge on a series or whatever, and you just don't want to be bothered with somebody else's opinion. But then sometimes you want to binge on a series with somebody laying next to you or hanging around you to where you can talk to them about what's going on, and that's a whole different situation. And this is what's happening in many of our understandings of our relationships and during this holiday season. I was talking to some people and asking them questions about, hey, how do you feel during the holidays? And I'm expecting some people to say, well, I do get lonely, and there's a lot of loneliness. There's a lot of things that happen concerning mental health during this particular time in the holidays. But then I have some people that says, well, I break up with people because then I don't have to buy them a Christmas present. Boo, 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 boo. You're taking the wrong energy. But a divine relationship, I firmly believe that since we are not meant to be alone, it's actually a scripture that comes out of the Bible that talks about man, or that a human being is not meant to be alone. And so we have to take the time to realize that I believe there's always somebody out there that can make a divine connection with your life. And you don't necessarily always know who it is or where they're going to come from. So number one, open your mind and open your ears, not just your physical ears, but your inner ear, your spiritual ears, and open your eyes, not just your physical eyes, but your inner spiritual awareness eyesight. Open your eyes, because there's always someone out there that's going to come across your path that might be just who you need. It might not be who you want, because that person may not really appeal to you because of your list of what you want. And I'll tell you about that in a second. But open your eyes and your ears. Listen for certain things. Look for certain things. Think about certain things. And you're going to discover that there are a lot of things that the universe, the creator of the universe, will send your way so that you don't have to walk this path alone. There's a passage of scripture out of John chapter 1, verse 1 that says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. The Word was God. And that word comes from a Greek word, which is logos. And logos means in the beginning, or the plan of God, or the purpose of what we call God. And understand, when I say what we call God, God is not God's name. God is a position. We only use that term because when you look at the word God, everybody has a different definition for the word God. So the word God is the symbol you actually would read in the Bible. If you read it somewhere else, wherever you read it, it is a symbol. So when you read it, you're reading how you see God, but you'll also be able to see how relationships can come into your life through the creator of the universe, the creator of the world, the creator of our consciousness and our awareness. God, whatever you gonna call God, is God. So I'm gonna be right back, and I'm gonna tell you these three things. Hopefully, I think it's gonna be three. I might get to two of them, but I'm gonna tell you these things that you got to be ready to grasp, because it's gonna help you make some divine connections that could be a miracle in your life going down the line. I'll be right back. Watch this. Take a moment. I wanted to break right here. Take a moment, because how you give, what you give. We're in a month of sharing. Thanksgiving, Christmas, during times like this, a month of sharing. Take a moment and break some bread with us and share with us so that we can get what we're saying, this message out. Because there's a lot of crazy doctrines out there, and a lot of people who think they're theologians, and they're, there's some shortcomings there. I want you to take a moment and go, and you can text to give 713-742-2035, 713-742-2035. And whether it's $7, $8, $9, share whatever you have. It will make a total difference in us doing what we do. So I just want to take a quick break and share that with you. Let me get back to my story here. All right. We're talking about divine relationships, and what I'm talking about, we're making divine connections, opening ourselves up to other people. And that's the number one thing that I started in this first part of this session. If you're just joining us now, I'm talking about divine relationship. So the first thing I'm saying is open up your ears, open up your eyes, open up your mind, the spiritual aspect of who you are. You are a divine being. You are a spiritual being. You're not just a human physical being with physical senses, or a soulish being with will, choice, and things of that sort. But you are a divine being. There is divinity within you. So you have to dig deep sometimes and say, what is the spirit thing inside of me saying to me right now? Look around at different people that come into your life. I used to have people that come up with a vision board. They come up with these vision boards every year at the beginning of the year. And their vision boards say this: I want a man in my life, or I want a woman in my life, and I want this man. Everybody's list is different and different. I want a man in my life, and he has to be a spiritual man. He's got to be good looking. He's got to be got to have some money in his pocket. He's got to have a job. He's got to have a way of financing us. He's got to be able to drive a nice car. He's got to have a nice house, a place to live. If it's a woman, she's got to be able to bring something to the table, or she has to a good-looking woman and that wants to take care of herself, and don't want her to be too bossy or too loud, and will allow the man to take the lead. And there are a lot of things. People have these descriptions of people that they want. And so they're looking for people through the lenses of what they want. Especially, they got to have a good physique. They got to lift weights. They got to do it. And what they don't realize is that physical bodies change over time and over years. And if somebody is not in pretty good shape today, believe me, you might be the inspiration that's going to help them to get in shape tomorrow. So what you're looking for today may not be there. It may be 2 years from now. Or then the person that you're looking for may not be in your age range. Wow. What if that person is older than you? What if that person is younger than you? You might not look at that person. You may think because of their age, or their age they're younger than you. You might consider them to be more immature than you. And you may not realize all the mess that person has gone through at a young age, and how it has matured them, or what's going on in their life. Or you may find somebody that's older than you, and you may say, hey, that person is too old for me, but I don't know why I'm drawn to them. I don't know why I like them. But I'm there. I'm right there. People are going to talk about me. But you start realizing that there is a wisdom there, a kindness there, that makes you feel good about yourself. And I'm going to tell you something. Don't just take my word for it, but there are other people who think certain ways. Number two, don't push people away because they're not now listen to this, your race or your color or your church background or necessarily your spiritual background. Don't just push people away. I've heard the scripture. I've heard it this in all of my life. I've grown up in church all of my life. And I hear, well, we don't want to be unequally yoked. And we want to, what in the world does that mean? That could be a long class right there. But it basically means a person that doesn't really connect with you or is not in your spiritual league. Well, that not necessarily may be true. What that person has today, you may not have today. But what you have today, that person may not get it till tomorrow. Or maybe that person has something to bring to the table that you don't. But once they bring it to the table, it completes the puzzle with the image and the picture that you need to see. So you've got to open yourself up to realize that the person that may walk into your life, it might be a divine appointment, and they could come from anywhere. This entire planet is huge. If you live in Texas, that person may not just come from Texas. If you live in Houston, that person may not be in Houston. If you live in the United States, that person may not be in the United States. There's hemispheres, there's continents, there are places all over this world. You don't know where they're coming from. So be open. I didn't say be a fool. Be careful now, because there are toxic situations. Always have you some friends and some cohorts and folks that you can talk to and say, listen, don't keep these things a secret. Tell other people what you're thinking about and the relationships that you're making connections with, and so they can ask you some questions and make you think about what you need to think about. And open up those blind spots you have. You got to talk to other people. Keep your friends close during this time while you have other people coming into your life. And don't be afraid when other people say, well, they don't look the way I think they ought to look. You can do much better. Well, what is that song that the Temptations used to sing? Beauty's on the skin deep. Yeah. Listen, that's the way it is. Number 3. Take a moment and take a time to meditate on these things. We would call it being prayerful. And don't take it too fast. What do you mean by take it too fast? Don't meet them today and you in, tonight. Take your time. Talk to the person. The more you talk to them, and then make sure you listen, because it's listening that will tell you what you need to hear. Sooner or later, that person's going to tell you who they are. I'm getting into politics now. We heard a person in politics all the way to the White House tell us who they were. And we didn't vote right. And look at the mess we in. Anyway, you understand what I'm talking about. Divine relationships. These connections can be powerful if you let them. Okay? All right. Enjoy your holidays. Enjoy. Hello, my friends. I'm Ed Montgomery. You know me, Pastor Ed, Dr. Ed. Thank you so much for doing what you do and contributing from your heart. People think giving comes from the pocket. Never has. It comes directly from the heart. In the world that we're living in right now, so many changes, so many things happening that will make us lose our faith. Listen, I've got to teach more than I've ever taught. Stay online more than I've ever been online. Because it's not just going to be enough to encourage. We're reteaching the faith. That's right, reteaching the faith. Because we have to begin to strengthen the teaching so that people who've never heard this gospel like this before can hear it and continue to move on. So when you give, you're pushing me and telling me and challenging me to keep going forward. Take a moment, go to myalc.org. That's myalc.org, myalc.org, and go ahead and click that donate button. It is safe, it is secure, and not only that, but it only takes just a couple of minutes, maybe even a few seconds for those of you that are already signed up. Or if you want to use your phone, wherever you're watching or however you're watching, you can use text to give. And that's 713-742-2035, 713-742-2035. Or you can go old school and you can write a check and send it in to Abundant Life Center or Ed Montgomery. It doesn't go into my pocket, it goes into our ministry. 772-300, Houston, Texas, 77215. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for what you already do. I am praying for you, and I'm praying the best over your gift and over the offering. And I pray that abundance will continue to flow in your life in so many different ways. It'll warm your heart. God bless you. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash it, crash it. Let us know you're there.